Do you use a virtual backup, Anne?
A virtual, as in an online backup? Yes. I use Dropbox and Google Drive, and I also have a hard drive right here. I think it's, 12 terabyte or something? It doesn't say. Where all my projects will also be backed up at the end of the day. So I have an online backup and I have a physical backup sitting here. And then, of course, I have the files on my internal hard drives as well. So it's basically a three-way backup system.
You can never be too careful.
Well, especially with this, I mean, it's not so hard to get these files again. It's not like the scoring stage deletes their files once they've sent them to you. They're going to be sitting on their servers for years to come, if not forever. There have been instances where years later I've asked the scoring stage, hey, do you have these mix sessions? We want to do a soundtrack remix. Of course, they had them. They didn't necessarily still have them on their server, so someone had to dig out the archived drive and just upload them. But it's we're in a place now where it's not that hard to get files again once you lose them, but you lose time, of course, because downloading this usually takes me a whole day, I think, for a whole movie, because it's so many files. It's easily 100, 200 gigabytes of files easily. So you're going to be busy.
Yeah. We have the follow-up question to that is, do you use the online backup to share with clients?
Not really. I usually have a separate folder for clients that gets shared with the final delivery. Or, if it goes on their server, then I don't have that. I don't share the backup with the clients because they're not really interested in that. They don't really want all of my files because what are they going to do with my Cubase sessions? It's not like they can open them. I mean, if they asked for it, I would give it to them, but they don't really need my files. That's kind of up to each department to keep backups of their own session files and all that stuff. Yeah, I don't even think they get the live recordings. Some productions have asked for that. They have asked for the actual recordings because they paid for them, so they should have access to them. But usually I just send them the same link that I got from the scoring stage to download, so I don't even bother with that.
We have a comment that says, I'm surprised the studios haven't set up a Dropbox for you to upload your final delivery. For those of us who compose from outside the USA, is Dropbox an option?
That depends on the production. Dropbox is an option on small productions or mid-sized productions. It's not really an option on studio productions. They don't do Dropbox. They have their own servers that they will set up, and they will give you a login that was created just for you. And that you can kind of only use from like one computer or something. They have like security protocols that are in place. So with them, you would not be using Dropbox. But for everything else, you can use Dropbox. Sometimes they will create, on mid-sized productions, they will create Dropbox folders, but password protected ones. Some also, bigger corporations also like to use Box, which is kind of I think the Microsoft equivalent to Dropbox. I believe it used to be. I don't know if it still is. I haven't used it in a long time. But yeah, that has much higher security and security features, especially if you use the corporate account type thing. So, there are different options. I mean, a lot of it is also a question of how does your team handle security? Mm-hmm. And if you can trust your team, I mean, certainly not on blockbuster movies. The studios would never allow that. But on mid-sized and small productions, you can kind of get away with it if you trust your team to handle files properly. I mean, don't have your main machine on Wi-Fi or anything. Always use Ethernet, stuff like that, so nobody can hack into your system. So security is important, but it really depends on the type of production that you're working on, how tight they are on security.